Every country all around the world has their own unique cuisine. The English have muffins, China has Chinese food, America has sugar, fat and spray-on cheese, the Italians have pizza, pasta and garlic bread, and in Turkey they have Turkish bread. But when people from outside of Australia think of Australian food, they think of Vegemite, which tastes like booty cheeks, and shrimp on the barbie, which is just some rubbish that the Americans made up. So in today's video, I'll be going through some of the most iconic Australian foods of all time, and proving to the world that in Australia, there's more sustenance than just beer and Vegemite. Anyway, that's enough waffle, let's get into it. The first item of food on our list is the Woolies mud cake. Back in the day, this was the absolute staple of every 9th birthday party I've ever been to. With its moist undercooked texture and cheap crappy icing, topped off with that white drizzle of icing so it doesn't look like a cow pat, this was and still is the greatest birthday cake of all time. But recently, there's been a bit of controversy. You see, back in the day you could pick up a Woolies mud cake for the extremely reasonable price of $4.50. But you see, due to inflation, the price has gone up to $5.75. And yes, I know it's only a $1.25 increase, but that's an almost 25% increase in price with a 0% increase in mud cake. But at the end of the day, that's still a small price to pay for the greatest birthday cake of all time. And if you've ever had your own birthday party and had one of these two as your birthday cake, make sure to find out who bought it for you and keep an eye on them. Now, while we're on the topic of the greatest birthday cake of all time, it'd be rude not to mention the runner-up, and that of course is the Freddo Frog ice cream cake. If you didn't have the chocolate Woolies mud cake at your birthday party, the only acceptable replacement would have to be the Freddo Frog ice cream cake. These little Freddo Frog heads hidden inside the ice cream cake were like finding hidden treasure. But due to the fact that it's 3 times the price of the Woolies mud cake, combined with the fact that if you leave it outside of the freezer for more than 15 minutes, it becomes nothing more than a sticky green puddle. Alright, that's enough about birthday cakes, let's move on. Now this next one is an absolute certified hood classic, and that of course is the Bunnings Snag. Now the Bunnings Snag only consists of 3 important ingredients, those being cheap white bread, cheap supermarket sausages, and of course a bit of onion. Now the Bunnings Snag is a very simple meal, but it incorporates the holy trinity of nutrition, those being protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables. Every Saturday, people make the pilgrimage all over Australia to their local Bunnings just to get a cheap sausage and bread. And while the Bunnings Snag is one of Australia's most beloved foods of all time, it hasn't gone without controversy. Now, if you're watching this video, the chances are you've also already seen this video that I made last year, where I did a deep dive into the Bunnings Snag onion controversy. So if you want an in-depth analysis on this controversy, make sure to go watch that video and click subscribe on the way through. But the long story short on this controversy is that someone accidentally dropped an onion in the lawn care aisle, and then when some idiot slipped over on said onion and tried to sue Bunnings, the iconic recipe of the Bunnings Snag that we've come to know and love was almost changed forever. Now before we get into the next one, I've got a little fun fact for you guys. On Monday, the 6th of May, 2024, we reached an absolute milestone. The Yorak Hunt channel hit the holy number of 69,000 subscribers. And while this is a massive milestone that one day our great-grandchildren will learn about in history class, unfortunately, almost 69% of people who watch these videos aren't subscribed. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so that we can flip the numbers and score a double whammy. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's move on to our next food item. Now this next one is an absolute work of genius by our Middle Eastern community, and that of course is the HSP. According to a quick Google search, the HSP originated in Australia, and whether that's true or not, I don't care, because the HSP is not only one of Australia's greatest foods, it's also one of the greatest foods in the entire world. The abbreviation HSP stands for Halal Snack Pack, but don't forget the fact that the Greeks have their own version called the Hellenic Snack Pack. Just like the Bunnings Snag, the HSP consists of 3 main ingredients, those being soggy chips, cheese, and your choice of lamb or chicken. Now there's an easy way to figure out if you've got a good HSP or not, and that's by following the simple rule, the more oil, the better. Now if you order a HSP and it's all dry and crumb, you've copped a shocker. But if you order a HSP and when you're finished there's still enough oil left in the container to do an oil change on an AU Falcon, drive from Melbourne to Sydney and back without getting any lift to tick at all, that's how you know you got a good HSP. And a little side note, that extra oil makes things a lot smoother when you inevitably have to drop the kids off at the pool. But before we move on, there's one last thing about the HSP that I forgot to mention. You see, when you go up and order a HSP at your local kebab shop, there's one question that they'll always ask you. And that question is, of course, what sauces would you like? You see, there's only one correct answer to this question, and that of course is the Holy Trinity. You see, there are many Holy Trinities in the world. There's this one, we've got this one, and of course this one. But when it comes to the HSP, the Holy Trinity only means one thing, and that is garlic, barbecue, and chili sauce. And if you ask for anything else than this goated combo of sauces, you deserve to be put on a watch list. And if you order something crumb like tomato sauce and or mustard, I'm sorry, but the only option is the electric chair. Alright, now it's time to move on from one absolute gutbuster to another. Now this next entry is a 2 for the price of 1, and that of course is the service station pie / sausage roll. Now while these are two completely different foods, they are both just as legendary as each other. One of these two paired with a blue V, or more importantly, a Dare iced coffee, has to be the ultimate Australian morning tea / smoko feed. Now 3 of the 4 items that you see on screen now are absolutely goated gutbusters. And if you combine any of these two with a Dare iced coffee, you'll be through the eye of a needle. But we're not here to talk about the Dare iced coffee because I'll talk about it in the next video. The two main ingredients in the service station pie or sausage roll is pastry and whatever cheap meat that they can get their hands on. And the best way to tell if you've got a high quality example of one of these two products is when after you've finished eating it, you've got both heartburn and diarrhea. But these two don't come without their downsides. The service station sausage roll, for example, as soon as you take one bite, the pastry flakes off and goes absolutely everywhere. Every time I eat a service station sausage roll, the footwell of my car looks like the Sahara Desert. But the meat pie is no better. The grease that they call gravy in the meat pie is nothing but a weapons grade lubricant. I have a fond memory of putting a half-eaten 7-Eleven meat pie in the cup holder of my Series 3 AU Falcon Forte. Now you may be asking why I did that in the first place, and the answer of course was to argue with people on Facebook Marketplace for something to do on my lunch break. But after I inevitably got blocked, I reached down to grab my meat pie again and noticed that my cup holder was full to the brim with minced cow testicle and gravy. So just be warned, if you're going to eat one of these two delicacies in Australian cuisine, do so in a controlled environment. Now for our second last one, we've got the ultimate pub feed of all time, and that of course is the chicken parma. No, it's not palmy, that just doesn't sound right. Shortening the word parmigiana to palmy is like shortening the word cigarette to cigar. It just doesn't make sense. And if you don't agree with my opinion that is also fact, feel free to start an argument in the comments. Anyway, the chicken parmigiana consists of a big lump of pan-fried crumbed chicken breast, topped off with some tomato paste, ham, and melted cheese. Now this is an absolute staple in any pub all across Australia, simply due to the fact that it's almost impossible to f**k up, yet some places still manage to. Most pubs even have a special deal on something like a Tuesday or Wednesday night called the $20 pot and parma night, which consists of a parmigiana, chips, and your choice of beer. You could even count this as another holy trinity, because the salad doesn't count, of course. Now, before we get into our last one, we've got to get into a few honourable mentions. These are ones that were suggested to me on this Instagram poll that I put up. Make sure to follow me there. That were either too to make it in the video, or possibly due to the fact that this video is almost 10 minutes long already and I haven't got all day. Those include crayons, cock, cones, fairy bread, AU Falcon lower ball joints, Vegemite and Milo milkshake, on toast, magpie, on a stick, AU Falcons, lamingtons, durries, thongs, And how could I forget the stale Macca's chip in the back of this guy's Falcon? Anyway, thank you to my Instagram followers for suggesting those delectable items of Australian cuisine. But out of all of those absolutely stupid answers, the most common one that I received coincidentally is also my favourite. And that of course is no other than the Zinger Box. The Zinger Box is comparable to the Series 1 AU Falcon Forte, and by that I mean you can customize it to suit whatever need you want. But simply due to the fact that I can't be bothered going through every single customization option for the Zinger Box, we'll just stick to what you get stock standard. As of May 2024, the Zinger Box, which is short for Zinger Burger Box Hot and Crispy, consists of 2 hot and crispy pieces, a Zinger burger, regular chips, a tub of potato and gravy, and a can of Pepsi Max. Now according to the KFC website, the Zinger Box contains 4,500 kilojoules of energy, or just over half the daily recommended intake, yet somehow only serves 0 people. The macros on the Zinger Box is absolutely insane. This amount of carbs and protein, paired with the caffeine from the Pepsi Max, no wonder this is the bricklayer's meal of choice. And while this is quite possibly the greatest meal in all of Australia's history, I can't say too much on it, because one day in the near future it's gonna get its own special video. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment and share if you'd like to hear more teachings from the Prophet of Yorak Hunt. And if you enjoyed this video so much that you watched it all the way till the end, make sure to comment,
"What the hell? Oh my God, no way, yeah, yeah,"
to let me know.